Hi, hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to do the Try a Chapter challenge tag video. Either way, I am going to go through all of my YA fantasy that's on my TBR and try a chapter and just see how I'm liking things to decide what I'm going to read next. The only thing that I am currently reading is Dumplin' by Julie Murphy. I have that on my audiobook. But I was taking a gander at my TBR shelf and I noticed I have a ton of YA fantasy that I just really am in the mood for. So I plucked all the YA fantasy off my TBR shelf and I believe I have 13 books here to try. I'm going to read the first chapter and let you know some of my thoughts. I don't have the explicit goal to get rid of ones that I'm not into. I just kind of want to figure out what I want to read next. Some of these books have been on my TBR for a while, so I'm hoping maybe it'll spark a little more interest in them and maybe I'll read some books that I've had on my TBR for like a year. So first, I'm just gonna go through every single book before I get into the chapters. The first one I have here is Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. This is the first book in a series that is a dark fantasy that follows this world where there are triplets in line for the throne and each one has a different kind of magic and they have to fight to become queen of the realm. So I believe they were separated at birth. They don't know each other. One of them is an alchemist who can ingest one of them is a poisoner who can ingest deadly poisons without so much as a stomach ache. One of them is a naturalist, ability to bloom plants and control animals. And the third one is an elemental able to spark flames or vicious storms at the snap of her fingers. This just sounds really fun. The magic system sounds really fun to me, so that's why I picked it up. I've heard really good things about it. Now this one is, the first chapter is 24 pages. Seems interesting. The next book that I have here is The Thief by Megan Whelan Turner. This follows our main character who is a legendary thief, but one day he gets caught and thrown in jail and he gets invited to join a heist to steal an impossible item. And this just, again, has such good reviews. I think this is gonna be giving me like Six of Crows vibes, but also some other vibes as well. I love thief stories for sure. This first chapter is 17 pages, but again, it's a very short book, like height wise, so probably go by pretty fast. Then I have a Traitor to the Throne by Owen Hamilton. This is the sequel to Rebel of the Sands. This book follows our main character who flees from her hometown. There's like this civil war going on between the leader and the leader's sons, and there's also a mysterious magical element that we kind of learn about in the first book, so we're kind of expanding upon some of that. I don't want to get too spoilery, but I have been wanting to, I enjoyed Rebel of the Sands way more than I thought I was going to, and I do want to dive back into this world. It's a Middle Eastern inspired fantasy and it's really fun. And the first chapter of this is only 6 pages, which is crazy. That's so short. 6 pages. I can definitely do that. The next book I have here is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. This is a siren-based fantasy novel that follows our main character who is a siren, and she collects princes' hearts that give from different kingdoms around the ocean that give her and her people power, and it is her job that she's after like one of the prince's hearts, and that prince actually ends up being someone who is hunting down all of siren kind, and they end up meeting, and it seems like a great enemies to lovers. And I'm a little tentative about this, just to be honest with you. I don't read mermaid siren fiction a lot. It's just not something I'm super into, but This seemed fun. It's gotten good reviews from people I enjoy, and the first chapter is 6 pages again. Then I have Wild Beauty by Anne-Marie Mclemore. This is a fun, whimsical fantasy that I really want to get to. I've heard nothing but great things about Anne-Marie Mclemore. I haven't read any of her books, but this follows a group of women that tend to like an enchanted garden, and if they fall in love, their lovers vanish into the garden and get like, they don't know what happens to them, just that if they fall in love, the lovers get called into the garden. And I believe this one starts where a boy reappears from the garden, and that's where this whole book kicks off. The first chapter of this is 11 pages. Then I have The Glass Spare by Lauren Destefano. This is a YA fantasy. Obviously, these are all YA fantasies that follows the fourth daughter of the ruler of this world. So she is a princess, but she's been hidden away and locked away to be trained as a spy when she finds out that her touch can turn things or people, I think anything, to it turns people into gemstones. Obviously this is a very destructive power. She wants nothing more than to just explore the world, but she's got this power and she's a princess, and I think this is really fun. I haven't heard much about this. This was one of my owl crates when I was still getting that, but when I first read reviews of this, I thought, yeah, this is something I would like. So I'm gonna give this one a go. The first chapter is 16 pages. So one of the books was going to be The Hazelwood, but I just read over the synopsis again, and I just realized this is more of, it's not like a full high fantasy, it's more of an urban fantasy. So I'm gonna knock this off my list for now and maybe read it at a later date. The next book I have here is Even the Darkest Stars by Heather Fossett. This is a book that's been on my TBR for a long time, and I really want to get to it. It follows our main character who wants to be a royal explorer and navigator and mapper for the kingdom, and these are very revered positions, and unfortunately she just doesn't have the talent, I guess, at the beginning, but her sister does. So it looks like her sister is going to become a royal explorer when like the most famed explorer comes to her house and asks for her specifically. So that kind of kicks off this whole story. I'm sure there's a lot more going on, but it just seems like two things that I love combined, which is exploration and like outdoor adventures with fantasy. So this first chapter is 14 pages. Getting there. All right, now we're on to the tall books. In case you haven't noticed, I've been showing them to you by size just for fun. So we have obviously Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. If you guys have watched any of my videos, you know that this book is my Everest. I don't know what to call it. It's something that I really think I'm going to enjoy, but for some reason I haven't picked it up yet. I own all of the books that have come out in this series, and I haven't even read the first one yet. But this follows two friends that are different types of witches. So one of them is a truth witch, obviously, able to discern when people are lying, and they are like very rare, truth witches are, and a lot of people want that power on their side, so she tries to keep her power hidden. And the other friend is a thread witch, so she can see the ties that bind people together, and they just want to be free to live their own lives and be friends. But because of the truth witch power and there's war coming to the witchlands, like a lot of stuff happens. And I've heard that this is very similar, has similar vibes to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that's my life, so I just really need to get to this. The first chapter in this it says it's 18 pages, but I'm pretty sure it's one of those that counts all of the pages before it, so I think it's probably like 11 or 12 pages. Then we have King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. To be honest with you, I have no desire to pick this up right now. For some reason, I don't know why. This is the first book in a duology in following Nikolai, who is a character in the Grishaverse. I can't say much more without spoiling, but since it's YA fantasy, I'm making it a rule that I'm putting it on here. And the first chapter is 13 pages. Another sequel that I'm tentative to pick up, but again, I've had this since it came out because I went to the signing. So this came out in like 2017, I'm pretty sure, is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 6th book in the Throne of Glass series that follows Chaol Westfall and his adventures, like parallel to one of the other books, Empire Storms, in the series. Again, not super into it, but the first chapter is very short. It's only 9 pages, but really it's only like 5, so we're gonna give it a go. We have The Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi. This is a cast of characters sort of heist novel that follows a bunch of characters who are after this object, and I don't know much more about that, but I do want to give it a go. Roshni Chokshi and I have a tenuous relationship. First chapter, that is 14 pages, but that also includes a prologue and a part 1 like italicized portion, so still that's not too bad. What I was saying before is I did not enjoy Roshni Chokski's other book that I read, The Star-Touched Queen, but I want to give this another go and see if she is worth the hype. Then finally I have Children of Blood and Bone by Thome Adeyemi. It follows our main character who lives in a world where magic has pretty much been tamped out, and there are magic users called magi that can control different like elements and things, and our main character has the opportunity to bring magic back to the world, so it follows that. This is another like Avatar: The Last Airbender-y feel book that I've heard, so I for sure want to give it a go. And the first chapter is 20 pages. So those are all of the books that I will be reading hopefully throughout the day today. I will keep you guys with me and it should be a good time. Hello, this is my new favorite angle. I am going to read To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo, and the first chapter is only 6 pages, so let's go. Is there ever going to be a mermaid book where the character doesn't have red hair? That's my one main question right now. Page 2. Okay, I've finished chapter 1 of To Kill a Kingdom. It's kind of what I expected, so not off the table right now, but not completely captivating. So I guess I could do another one while I'm down here. Let's do The Thief by Whelan Turner. I like this so far. Except there's no ladies yet. Chapter 1, no ladies. This is for sure a contender for my next read. Hello everybody, I just wanted to give you a quick update. I'm going to read the first chapters of these 3 books, The Glass Bear, Wild Beauty, and even The Darkest Stars. I don't want want to just do time lapses of me reading the first chapter for all these books. So I will update you when I'm done. Huzzah! Of the following books. And so I read To Kill a Kingdom, I read Glass Spare, Wild Beauty, Three Dark Crowns, The Thief, and Even the Darkest Stars. And I think right now it's pretty safe to say that I am going to set aside The Glass Spare, Three Dark Crowns, and Wild Beauty. They all seem like something I would enjoy, but just not in the mood for them right now. So probably set those aside. To Kill a Kingdom is in the maybe pile still. That's a tentative, but I'm definitely leaning more towards Even the Darkest Stars and The Thief. That's where we're at. That's my cat. So I just finished Tower of Dawn, Truth Witch, and Traitor to the Throne, and I started to read Gilded Wolves, but then I realized that this is not a high fantasy. This is like a historical fiction fantasy. Anyways, it takes place in Paris and Italy, and I probably should have read this blue part, novel set in Paris. So I am interested in this, but I'm going to set it aside. I have 2 books left. King of Scars and Children of Blood and Bone. So I'm going to try and get to these right now before making my final decision. I'm really loving the updates to the map in this book. I'm a huge fan. I think it looks really, really, really good. Before it was a lot of just blank and then names, but I like the added buildings, I like the added trees and the hills and the water. Liking it quite a lot. Try a chapter books. I'm very proud of myself for doing that. Let's do a quick little wrap up to this video before I tell you what I'm gonna read next. So I have decided that there are 5 books that I'm for sure not going to pick up. The first one, King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo, just not in the mood right now. I think I want to do a reread of the Grisha trilogy before I read that one so I can get back into the world. The first chapter didn't do too much for me. It was good, but again, not in the mood. The Glass Spare by Destefano. Want to get to this soon, but not today. The Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi isn't actually a YA fantasy. Hello, where have I been? Wild Beauty by Anne-Marie Mclemore. Really good first chapter. Something that I definitely want to devote my time to, but not at this very moment. And Three Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake. Just meh right now. Just meh. Not feeling it. Not feeling it. That leads me to my 3 maybes, which I was really actually surprised about some of these. So these I think I'm going to push up on my TBR overall, and the first one is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. I did enjoy the first chapter, getting back into this world with Chaol, so I think this is gonna be on my mind a little bit more now as I pick out books. To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I did enjoy this first chapter. I think I'm gonna save it for Scallywagathon, which just was announced today, so might as well. And Traitor to the Throne by Owen Hamilton. This I think I am going to enjoy, but the first chapter was just a recap of the last book, which I get. I understand why that needs to happen. So I think I'm just gonna wait on this since I know I can just recap before jumping into the next story. And that means I had 4 that I was really excited about reading after reading the first chapter. The first one is The Thief by Megan Whelan Turner. This I think seems like a fun YA fantasy that'll just take me out of whatever I'm doing at the moment. That's really short. I think I'm going to save this. I have a week of training coming up in the middle of May, so I'm probably going to save that for this because this will be a good travel book, but I am really excited to get to this. For sure gonna get to it in May. I also really enjoyed Even the Darkest Stars by Heather Fossett. I'm surprised by how much I enjoyed it, so for sure this is going to be read very soon. Children of Blood and Bone by Thome Adeyemi is another one that I really enjoyed the first chapter of, and I do want to get to the second chapter, like ASAP. Drum roll please. The book that I will be continuing on with, like right now, this minute, is Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. I did enjoy the first chapter. I think I am going to enjoy this book. I finally buckled down and read the first chapter in its entirety. I really want to read this, so this is becoming my book that I'm gonna read now. Yay! I guess that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!